Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. My girlfriend refused to dress formally for my work's extremely formal event. After that, am I the jerk for telling my sister that she doesn't have to come to my wedding? And after that, my husband lied to me about our multi-generational house. Now I have no idea what to do. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen has to dress up. But this is the only shirt I have. Why do you think I wear it every day? So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. My girlfriend refused to dress formally for my work's extremely formal event. My boss threw a charity party to raise money to fund research projects for a rare disease. I won't be giving any details just in case someone I know sees this. Many of the guests were very important and influential people in my city and in my field of work, and obviously my coworkers were also there. It was a very formal event. Dress code was white tie and everything. I, 27 male, invited my girlfriend, who's 25, as my plus one. We've been dating for 1 year, and I've never had any issues with the way she dresses. I would never tell her how to dress, but then this unfortunately happened. We don't live together, so I got ready and drove to her house. I saw she was wearing a very tight, short skirt with one of those shirts that are kind of open in the middle. Of course, she looked great. If we were going anywhere else, like a club or a restaurant, I wouldn't even think twice about it. But we were going to a very formal charity event. When she got in the car, I asked if she forgot it was a white tie event, and she was like, "No, why? Is there something wrong with my outfit?" So I said that it was not appropriate for the occasion and asked if she could go change. She was very offended. I told her I totally understand why she would be offended, but explained that this was a very formal charity event and I couldn't show up with her wearing that outfit, especially with my boss and coworkers there. She got so angry and refused to change her outfit, saying I was being a jerk. I tried to explain it one more time, but she kept saying I had to accept it or she wouldn't go with me. So after a lot of arguing, I said she would have to stay home then. I went to the party without her, and we haven't been talking because she wants me to apologize and make it up to her. I really like this girl, but I also don't think I'm in the wrong here. She went partying with her friends that night, and she obviously told all of her friends about what happened. They all think I'm the jerk, and they keep commenting petty things on my social media posts, and recently, even her brother has been threatening me. Maybe I was a jerk and I don't realize it. Am I the jerk? Edit. Since a few people have asked, yes, I did tell her it was a white tie event as soon as I got the invitation and asked if she'd want to go with me. But no, I didn't explain to her in detail what exactly white tie means. I assumed she knew, so maybe that was my mistake. I did explain to her in the car when I asked if she could change, but she was already too offended and wouldn't listen. Not the jerk. Events have dress codes. That is a hard truth. She could have cost you your job. Not the jerk. The event host set the dress code, not you. Your girlfriend made a deliberate choice to dress in opposition to the dress code, so she didn't get to go. You don't owe her anything, not an apology, and certainly not some making up for her mistake. Okay, I've been in her position before, and let me tell you, you are the jerk. Just because others are conforming doesn't mean you can force her to. You have no right to tell her what to wear, regardless of how important you think your little get-together is. I hope she dumps you for someone who actually respects her. I would never date a guy who tries to tell me what I can and can't wear. I can't believe how many people are making excuses for your blatant being a jerk. Crap like this is why I only date guys who make minimum wage or are unemployed like myself. Guys who make ridiculous amounts of money always think it entitles them to boss you around. Newsflash, being a rich boy doesn't entitle you to crap, and you're no better than me. I have 2 toddlers I'm raising as a single mom, and I hope to God they don't grow up to be jerks like you. Alrighty then. Hey Karen, you ever feel like Reddit is a zoo? Zoo would be an understatement, Reddit boy. Insane asylum would be more accurate. Am I the jerk for telling my sister that she doesn't have to come to my wedding? My sister has 2 kids, an 8-year-old and a newborn. Our wedding, 1.5 years away, is supposed to be child-free with the exception of siblings because my fiance and I both have large age gaps between us and our siblings. He has a 3, a 4, and a 12-year-old brother, and I have a teenage brother. I also have my sister and older brother. Obviously, we want our siblings at our wedding, even if they're kids and it breaks our child-free rule. For our wedding, we're renting out a huge Airbnb for a week, a literal mansion, where the wedding and reception will be, and invited all immediate family to stay with us for the week as our first family vacation as an official family. I love my nephews, I really do, but my fiance and I wanted to plan a bunch of adult/couples events like wine tasting, e-bike tours, snorkeling, etc., and I don't want kids with me when we do it. The host was nice enough to match us with some babysitters that he frequently works with for events just like this, so the other kids, our younger siblings, will stay at the Airbnb with the babysitter, but our parents know they have to pay for the babysitter. My fiance and I are paying for all of the adult events we have planned, like the wine tasting and tours, etc., and they're okay with it. We want them to pay for childcare simply because I don't want to be responsible for anyone's kids for the entirety of the wedding and vacation afterwards, financially or emotionally. There will be plenty of things for the kids to do at the Airbnb as well. My sister said it's not fair that our siblings are invited but not my nephews, and I told her if I broke the child-free rule for everyone I loved, there would be no child-free rule. She told me that if I'm not allowing kids, I have to pay for childcare and find someone to stay with them for a week. I told her no. She said, "I'm not paying for a babysitter," and I told her, "Then don't come." I was upset she was trying to manipulate me into paying for childcare when I'm literally offering her an all-expense vacation. The only thing she has to pay for is childcare for her own kids. I told her if she was going to make my wedding about her, I don't want her there. She then flipped out and called me every name she could think of, so I yanked her invite altogether and told her I'd send her pics of the wedding and vacation afterwards so she can see where her selfishness got her. My family is super close to each other, and I love my nephews, so everyone was very surprised I made the wedding child-free. But after I yanked my sister's invite, people started to also decline the invite. My response has pretty much been, "You aren't punishing me the way you think you are. All you're doing is saving me money. But if you don't come support me on my love day, then expect me to go no contact." Now everyone is upset at me. I think this may have come off as a bit bridezilla, but I don't think I owe any of them anything, honestly. It's my wedding. Am I being selfish here? Edit. I don't think I made it clear that my family is holding their attendance over my head and are saying, "If you don't invite your sister and nephews, I won't come either." So I told them, don't come. But I didn't appreciate the way they were trying to manipulate my decision, so I told them if they don't come, I'm going no contact. Edit 2. I told her she could come for the wedding and not stay for the vacation, but she wanted both. I only uninvited her after she said a bunch of nasty stuff to me. The exception to the child-free rule is for immediate family only. There will be things for the kids to do at the Airbnb. And a lot of people are saying, wait till you have kids. But I would just not come to the wedding. I would choose my kids over the wedding. To me, it's my love day, but I understand to everyone else it's just a stupid wedding, and I'm okay with that. No one has to come that doesn't want to, and I'm okay with that. It's completely understandable. But people that are not coming out of spite of the situation, I take a problem with. Update. After reading all of the comments telling me no one cares about our wedding, the vacation doesn't sound like it would be fun at all, I'm being controlling, I'm being selfish and an entitled bridezilla, I clearly don't value my family, etc. My fiance and I have decided to cancel our wedding altogether. We'll have a small ceremony for us and our parents, and then my husband and I will use the big beautiful mansion we rented out as our honeymoon. We'll message the Airbnb host tomorrow about moving the date up. We're very excited. I realize neither of us wanted to cater to anyone because the only people that matter when it comes to our marriage is us. Forget everyone else. To everyone saying that child-free weddings are egotistical, no one cares about your kids. I love kids, I really do, but no one should have to cater to your kids' needs except for you. Thank you all for making me realize how stupid family weddings are. We don't need them present to have our happily ever after. We'd prefer to avoid the drama altogether. That's all. Update. OMG, where do I start? I moved in with her after her kid was born and her baby daddy left. I was only 15 and lived with her for 3 years and helped raise her kid, but she swears it never happened. When she moved out of my parents, she took the family dog with her. The last time she moved, she asked for heck because she's pregnant, but then sat the entire time and did nothing. I had to clean hers and her son's room, which both had trash up to my knees, and then pack everything because her stomach hurt. Not to sound insensitive, but the only time she seems to feel sick was when she had to do something. She was about 3 months along. My fiance, boyfriend at the time, and I offered to help her move, like actually pack up the truck and move furniture and such. And again, she sat doing nothing the entire time. It was -5 degrees outside, and she sat in the car. Once we were done, I got into the car and she said, "Oh, good, you're done." And I was like, "Yeah, we're done. You could have helped." And she said, "It's cold." I was so mad. But she was pregnant, so I pushed through. I kept helping. After my boyfriend and I were talking about where we wanted to eat, and she started screaming at us to shut up because she's hungry and doesn't want to listen to people talk about food. I was mortified. He spent all day lugging furniture in negative weather, and she was so rude. Never even thanked him. Then I was over the moon to throw her a baby shower. I love kids, but she never sent me an invite list. I waited months and eventually made it myself because we were running out of time, and she pitched a fit about who I did or didn't invite. And then she uninvited me to a baby shower that I spent hundreds of dollars and hours of time planning. The only job she had as the pregnant mother was to make an invite list and to show up on time. But she also complained about the time I planned it. I couldn't believe it. Final update. I sent out an email canceling the wedding to avoid any conflicts with childcare arrangements, and we decided it wasn't fair to people with kids. Obviously, this isn't true, but that's where this all began, so I didn't tell anyone about the conflict between my sister and I, but she had already dragged half of my family into it, so they knew the situation. This is each person's reaction. My parents, they were disappointed, but understood. My sister has always been a nightmare, and we have always given her anything she wants, if for nothing else, just to shut her up. They literally let her take the family dog just to keep her from throwing a tantrum. They're glad that I shut her up as well as not just giving in to what she wants. His parents, they were so sad. They were really excited to have this vacation, but they're still happy for us and understand. Younger siblings are crushed. I'm going to go on a weekend trip with them to make it up for it. That seemed to cheer them up a bit. Sister. My sister made a Facebook post telling everyone what an arrogant jerk I am. She texted me saying she never wants to see me again. But she also said that when I accidentally broke her favorite perfume. And again when I told her son he couldn't have my cat. Yes, my cat of 2 years. And she told her son in front of me, "Maybe Auntie will let you take the cat when we leave." And she put me in an awkward and upsetting position of telling my nephew and sister absolutely not. And again when I wouldn't make her dozens of meals for free to freeze after she gave birth. And again when I didn't buy her a gift for her baby shower that she uninvited me to, that I planned. She'll get over it once she needs a babysitter again, like every time. Everyone else, honestly, that's just too much to go into. Some people are upset they don't get to attend the wedding and are calling me petty and small. I am, I don't care. But some are just annoyed because this is what my sister does. This is who she is. I decided I don't care if I'm the jerk or not. It's my wedding. My fiance is happy with this decision, and we will do what we want. But honestly, the people calling me the jerk were usually jerks themselves, telling me I'll get divorced. My family probably hates me, and they should go no contact with me either way, that I'm insufferable, that I can't stand kids, that I'm a bad aunt, that I should never have kids, that I'm entitled, etc. And I don't think I should cater to people like that. Thanks for helping me realize how ungrateful people are. Not the jerk. People have child-free weddings all the time. My wedding was child-free. Siblings are way different than nieces and nephews. Sorry, but it's true. No one is entitled to come to your expenses-paid vacation wedding, especially not if they want you to pay for their childcare on top of a free trip. OP. That's what I think. People are saying it's wrong to invite siblings but not nephews, but nephews aren't immediate family, and those are the only people we bent the rules for. Yeah, you could have handled it with more grace, but they shouldn't be surprised you're acting negatively when they effectively are trying to punish you for something they don't agree with. I honestly am gonna go with not the jerk. Your parents agreed to pay for childcare because they understand that their kids are not your responsibility, no matter how much you love them, which is enough to allow kids to a kid-free wedding. Your sister has 1.5 years to come up with childcare to attend a wedding that you're paying for. It's extremely selfish of her to expect you to pay for everything for your wedding and the entire vacation for all attendees, and then to also take care of her kids for her? It's also really low of her to insult you for not doing so. All the family members backing out and picking sides are kind of acting a little toxic, dangling their attendance over your head just so you'll cave to your sister's demands? It makes me feel like they favor her over you, and this is supposed to be your special event. She'd still have to pay for childcare for her kids to be watched at the Airbnb since you're not even allowing the child siblings to some events. Why is she expecting it would be different with her kids? Not the jerk. It's your wedding, and if you want to, you can make it child-free. You're offering your guest a place to stay for free while paying for everyone's activities. That's extremely generous. I understand if your sister doesn't want to come because she can't bring her kids, but it's also unreasonable for her to request that you pay for her kids' childcare. Also, she can't compare your nephew to your siblings. Those are different relationships. So I understand why you would want your younger siblings to attend and not your nephews. Good for you for staying firm in your decision. I don't know if I would go no contact with everyone who declines. They may be declining because they can't afford to pay for a sitter or feel uncomfortable leaving their kids for a week. I wouldn't assume that people are only declining to show solidarity with your sister. If you do find out that this is the case, then by all means, go no contact if that's how you truly feel. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or not? Please let us know.
Fighting over an all-expenses-paid wedding vacation that lasts a week. Gotta love the first world problems.
My husband lied to me about our multi-generational house. Now I have no idea what to do. I've been married to my husband for 4 years now. We have 3 kids. When we got married, I moved in with him. The story I was told about the house we live in is that he bought the house with his grandparents and that once they passed, it would be just our house. When I moved in, his parents, his 19-year-old cousin, Bea, his grandmother, and occasionally his aunt still lived there. I was told that the aunt just visited but lived in another state, and that Bea was only living there until she finished college as a favor to her and her family. 4 years later, they are all still living here full-time as the aunt gave up her other house during 2020. Bea is now married and has a kid. While there are technically enough bedrooms for everyone with enough sharing, this house is way too overcrowded. It wasn't until late last year that I had had my 3rd child and expressed interest in having Bea's family and her mother at least work on moving out that I learned that that story was false. My husband and his parents don't co-own the house. The money that paid for the house is 40% my husband, 20% his parents, and 40% money from their grandparents that was gifted early. Part of the grandparents' stipulation for going in on this house was that Bea was to be put on the paperwork as well. Legally, Bea owns 33% of the house and is the 3rd name on the title. I was shocked by this. Bea will never want to move out and won't let us kick out her mother, and his parents have the right to live here for life, so this is just settled as a multi-generational house and will always be. Of course, my husband says he never told me any other story. I can't prove it, but it doesn't matter now. I hate living like this. I never wanted a multi-generational house. Everyone else is totally fine and happy with this, and from the outside it looks like a great situation. But this is never what I wanted. It feels like a commune. There's very little privacy and someone is around every corner. I've started opening up to my friends who express jealousy because I have live-in socialization, safe grandparent help, and a full tribe. I was tired of it, so I told them the truth. It got around, and now I'm public enemy number 1 in my house, and even accused of wanting a divorce if I hate my family so much. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk, but your husband is for lying to you. I'd actually consider a divorce for that alone. And you're not a jerk for venting to friends about the crappy, to you, even if others love it, situation you ended up in due to your husband's lies. I'd divorce over this too. It sounds like cultural differences here, as many cultures do live in generational houses. My mom's side does that, and I still live with my parents. It's not for everybody, and that's perfectly understandable. Unfortunately, your husband lied to you and is trying to gaslight you into believing what he wants you to. That's a red flag and something you need to discuss calmly with your husband. Be warned that it may not come to much, as he and his family think that leaving family is akin to leaving the family forever. By that, I mean leaving the household, in case that wasn't clear. Not the jerk, but what do you want to do now? Edit to include this from reading other comments from OP. OP, this is very concerning and, to be completely honest, kind of horrifying, especially about the home birth being pushed on you, though you did not take that route. Please, please seek therapy for yourself. OP, I love my husband and I don't want to leave him or our family. Even if he wanted to leave, we realistically can't anyway. Our monthly expenses with the house easily equal a mortgage, not to mention family expenses for us and the kids. I can't work until the kids are all in school and might even have to homeschool now, so we're on one income. At best, we would be in a one-bedroom apartment with no outdoor space, which is in no way better for them than a perfectly safe house with their whole extended family where it's at most 2 people to a bedroom on multiple acres of land, trying to keep details vague. I live in a place where all of the houses are on maybe a quarter of an acre of land, so take this with a grain of salt, but multiple acres sounds huge to me. Is it possible to build a cottage or two for Bea and her mom? Or maybe for just mom and dad? Can you add a private wing or in-law suite to the house with its own kitchenette and sitting area? Anything to partition the space a bit. OP. Some of it is taken up by Bea's garden and chickens, which does cut down on grocery costs for us all. There's a full playground and trampoline, a pool, space for the dogs, and outdoor hangout area. And then there's the woods. It's a lot of space, but not as much as you would think. There isn't space for an entire other house. Maybe there's enough space for a small shed or a tiny house for you, an art studio, office space, private reading nook. Somewhere to get away would probably help a ton just in the immediate sense. Other than that, you're definitely going to want to talk to your husband about how he lied and misrepresented the situation entirely, but at least a little breathing room could help you feel more comfortable. OP. A shed, definitely. I'll bring this up. I'm definitely angry with my husband about this and will be for a while. It just doesn't mean I want a divorce. I second the idea of a little shed for you. We bought a 10 by 12 wooden shed, insulated it, and ran electric to it. It became my oldest's bedroom, so they wouldn't have to share a room with siblings. It was a lifesaver. Now, it's my little office for me, much cheaper than an addition. I'm sorry, but Bea is honestly not at all to blame, and to be honest, seems to be helping you out here. Do you have any personal issues with Bea? I would seriously contemplate divorce, as the only jerk here is your husband. The rest of the family need to know what you were told about, though he will deny it to save face, of course. I'm shocked that you have 3 kids together in this home. It is irresponsible, and honestly, it seems like everyone sucks here except Bea. OP. She's 33% owner and 90% of the emotional problem. She would go absolutely ballistic if she thought that her family's life in the house was threatened. This is her first stable home, and she is scarily committed to this as a lifetime thing, considering she's not even 22. Someone mentioned renting out rooms, and the reason that would be completely unworkable is Bea. If she wasn't a player in this, we could probably get the idea out there, and of course there would be standards. But with her, it would be the definition of hostile living situation for whoever moved in. There's tons of wiggle room with what we would actually be able to rent out, so she would make sure that only the worst rooms were free. She would insist on a full background check on anyone moving in, and she would use anything she could to get them out if they got through. There's maybe one friend of hers she would let in, but that friend couldn't pay rent. Do I personally have an issue with her? Not really. I thought I did, but that was when I thought she was being an entitled teenager, making way too many changes to a house that she was eventually leaving. Bea is 0% of your problem. Your problem is your husband, who has lied to you for the entirety of your relationship. He has likely lied about other things and will likely continue to do it because it gets him what he wants. Bea living in her house she legally owns is not a problem. Your problem is your lying husband. Honestly, it does not sound like Bea is ever going to leave that house, which is her right. She owns it and it's her house. So you need to decide if you are fine staying living with her or figure out a way to move out. I don't know why you would ever stay with someone who has lied and manipulated you like this for your entire relationship. So good luck with that. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or is her husband? Please let us know.
5 acres of land is a nice amount of space. I hope they clear out a section of the woods and build a tiny house in it. And why not design it after a hobbit hole? I love Lord of the Rings.
Am I the jerk for hiding behind the couch so my sister wouldn't hand her screaming baby to me? I'm 14, female, and my sister, Della, who's 19, is in college. She took her second semester off because she recently had a baby, Roxy, who's 0, female. She knows who the father is, but they aren't in a relationship. Della came back home for the semester break to make it easier for her. Roxy has these meltdowns, don't have a better word, where she's cranky, tired, and is just screaming her head off. When I sing a certain song to her by a pop band I love, she calms down. I have to sing to her for an hour or more. I'm not a good singer, but Roxy likes it anyway. It also works when she's just normal fussy crying. Della always hands Roxy to me when she cries, especially during her meltdowns. Della and I had an argument a week ago about the stupidest thing. Della wanted me to stop singing a song under my breath while I was making myself a snack, and I said I can't control it. It was about the noise. It was about her thinking that I'm a terrible singer and not wanting to be subjected to that god-awful noise. She told me that I was a selfish, lazy jerk who doesn't care about anyone but myself, and I said, fine. Since my singing is so bad, I won't calm Roxy down with it. She said fine. On Thursday, when I got home from school, my parents were working and Roxy was having one of her meltdowns. Della tried to hand me Roxy. I said no, my singing is crap, and I didn't want to subject anyone to it, and walked away. Then I hid behind the couch so she wouldn't be able to force me into helping with Roxy. Della thought I'd gone to a friend's and didn't look for me for a while, until she decided to call me to see when I'd be home. She heard the phone ring and was furious that I didn't come out and help her. My parents are telling me that it was super immature to hide. Della is a stressed, sleep-deprived teenager, and she needed me then, and I wasn't there for her. And now I don't know. They want me to apologize, but I don't want to. But maybe I was just being petty, and Della was just tired. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. Della's baby is not your baby. You're 14 years old. If she's so stressed, she should be looking into some sort of child support or help from the father. But forcing her baby on her 14-year-old sister is not okay. Seriously, and the parents defending Della are gross too. This is not OP's baby. The parents are only defending this because they don't want to handle the baby either. Dumping this on a kid is inexcusable. Watch, OP soon won't be able to hang out with friends. We'll have to cancel plans and we'll lose out on weekend fun, all because the parents and her stupid sister don't want to watch the baby. I mean, that was a super immature way to deal with it. But 1, you're a kid, so you're allowed to be immature. 2, that's not your baby and you aren't responsible for always being the one to calm her down. Not the jerk. Am I the jerk for lying to my wife about what time the guests arrive because she takes too long to get the food ready? My wife has a huge struggle with time management. Whenever we have guests over, they always end up waiting far too long for the food to be ready. Her argument is that she is struggling because there's just so much to do all at the same time. I'm the complete opposite. I get all chores done on time and have never had an issue with having so much to do at the same time. Last week we were having some guests over. She wanted to prepare a few dishes and asked when exactly the guests would be arriving. I lied to her. Instead of saying 5, I said 4. She got into the kitchen earlier and started preparing the food. 4 rolled around and she asked why the guests hadn't arrived yet. I kept stalling, saying maybe there was traffic or something. My wife began questioning the fact that they were even coming, but at 5 they arrived. We welcomed them. Food got served on time, had more time to talk and hang out in the living room. My wife then asked one of the guests what made them arrive an hour late. He said that they were meant to arrive at the time they agreed upon, which was 5, and told her that I knew that. I felt absolutely awful, but I kept my cool and tried to change the subject. Through the looks my wife gave me, she wasn't going to let it go. After they left, she confronted me, and I admitted lying to her about the time of the arrival so she could be ready on time to serve the food, and also since it was not cool to keep them waiting like she did in the past. She said I was unbelievable and that I never should have lied, but I said I felt frustrated with this whole thing that wouldn't get fixed. She said if I don't like it, then I should do it, but I said I already do my part and never complain. She said that I insulted her and lied to her and made her feel like she's a terrible host, then stormed off. I tried talking to her about it again, but she told me off, calling what I did sneaky and offending to her efforts when I was just trying to figure out a fix for the issue. Am I the jerk, or is she overreacting? You're the jerk. Perhaps the two of you need to switch roles when entertaining. You do the cooking and time-sensitive stuff. She can greet the guests and entertain while you take care of the finishing touches. It really doesn't sound as if her timing is that bad. You told her 4, she had the food ready by 5. If you told her 5, the food would have been ready around 6. A reasonable mealtime. Just have a tray of snacks and some drinks for while people settle down. It is a nicer party if you aren't rushed to the table the moment you come through the door. Or maybe he needs to complete the chores before and help the wife in the kitchen. It can be hard to socialize and cook at the same time. Anyways, OP is the jerk. We're pretty close friends to a family, and whenever we go there for dinner, my uncle, well, not really my uncle, but I call him that, makes dinner. I've never seen his wife make food for parties, and that's just because my uncle enjoys cooking much more. And even then, we don't have dinner immediately after arriving. There's usually wine or something like tea and a bunch of snacks. Then us cousins go play some card games and stuff until the dinner is ready. Oh, and usually when we're all hanging out together, some of the guests are helping in the kitchen too. And it's pretty natural because the kitchen is connected to the living room and everyone's talking and hanging out, even if they're cooking in the kitchen and stuff like that. Last time we went there, which was a few weeks ago, my brother and my cousin did the dishes together after dinner. It's really not hard to help at a party. People should learn that a party isn't supposed to be all stress for the host, or even worse, the wife. Everyone, including the guests, can help so all people have fun and enjoy their time. I'm gonna go opposite and say, not the jerk. I'm like the wife in this story. No matter what time people say to meet, and no matter how much advanced warning I have, I'm always late. Always. My mother has taken to telling me wrong times for family gatherings because she knows I'll be late. But I never know if she's telling me an hour early, half hour, or the actual time. She mixes it up. The result? I'm generally about 15 minutes late all of the time, she tells me, and that makes us arrive with the other guests. It's brilliant, I think. I know she's doing this. It's not a secret. We discussed it. It makes me panic enough that I don't know the real time that I try my best to arrive on time, which ends up being late anyway, but not super late. OP's wife needs to get over herself. It's inconsiderate and rude to always be late. She knows it, I know it. People who are late know this. We also know that our on-time relatives are sick of it. OP is sick of it. OP sounds like he cleans and does his share of the duties to prepare for guests. The wife owes her spouse and her guests the courtesy of being on time. Info. Do you help your wife with preparing for guests? Like cleaning the house, setting the table, helping in the kitchen? Or is she doing all of the prep herself? I think we all know the answer. His chores are probably mowing the lawn and chilling the beer while she runs around getting everything ready for 7 hours. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk here or not? Please let us know.
If you know someone's always late, so you tell them an earlier time, which results in them not being late, where's the issue? These commenters on Reddit just love to whine and complain about everything. I can't take this anymore, Reddit boy. Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.